Westbrook High had always felt a little off. The building was old, built in the 1940s, with long hallways that seemed to stretch farther at night than they did during the day. The lights flickered even when the bulbs were new. Lockers rattled when no one was near them. And sometimes, if you stayed after school long enough, you could hear a bell ring when there wasn't supposed to be one. Everyone blamed the pipes. Everyone except Marcus. Marcus was a junior who stayed late most days for basketball practice. One rainy Thursday in October, practice was canceled. The coach had a family emergency, and most of the team rushed out before the storm got worse. Marcus stayed behind to grab his headphones from the locker room. That's when he heard it. Ding. The final bell. But it was 6:47 p.m. School had ended hours ago. The hallway outside the gym was empty. The overhead lights buzzed softly. Rain tapped against the high windows. "Hello," Marcus called. No answer. He stepped into the main hall, his shoes squeaking against the tile. The trophy cases reflected his shadow back at him in warped shapes. For a second, he thought he saw someone standing at the far end of the corridor. Tall. Still. Watching him. He blinked. Nothing. He told himself it was just his imagination. The storm. The quiet. The weird echo of an empty school. Then the intercom crackled. "Students, please return to class." The voice was distorted. Not quite human. Like it was being dragged through static. Marcus froze. There were no students here. He slowly backed toward the exit doors, but they wouldn't open. He shoved harder. The metal handles didn't budge. That's when the classroom doors began to open. One by one. Click, click, click. Marcus's heart slammed against his ribs. From inside the rooms came the sound of chairs scraping across floors. Not random, organized. Like students standing in unison. A figure stepped into the hall from room 214. It wore a school uniform, gray hoodie jeans, but its head was tilted too far to the side. Its movements were jerky, unnatural, like a puppet with tangled strings. Its eyes were completely black. Behind it, more figures filled the doorway. Silent, smiling. Marcus ran. He sprinted down the stairs, his breath coming out in panicked bursts. The lights overhead began flickering violently as he passed beneath them. The bell rang again. Ding. He turned the corner toward the front office and nearly collided with a body. It was Coach Daniels. He was slumped against the wall, eyes wide open, unmoving. A dark stain spread across his shirt. Marcus staggered back, horror twisting in his stomach. The intercom crackled again. "You are late." Footsteps echoed from both ends of the hallway. Marcus darted into the nearest classroom and slammed the door behind him. He shoved desks against it, hands shaking so hard he could barely grip the metal legs. The room smelled wrong, like old dust and something metallic. He slowly turned. The desks were arranged in perfect rows. On each desk sat a sheet of paper. Every single paper had his name written across the top. Marcus Hill. In red ink. At the front of the class stood a teacher. Her back was turned. Her hair hung in wet strands down her shoulders. Her clothes were soaked as if she'd been standing in the rain for hours. "Take your seat," she whispered. Marcus stumbled backward. I don't." She turned around. Her face was pale and cracked like porcelain. Her eyes were the same, endless black as the others in the hallway. "Take your seat." The desks blocking the door began sliding away on their own. Marcus bolted toward the windows, but they wouldn't open. He grabbed a chair and smashed it against the glass. It didn't even crack. The classroom door burst open. The hallway figures flooded in, silent, filling every inch of space. Their heads all snapped toward him at the exact same angle. The bell rang again. Ding. The teacher smiled. "Attendance is mandatory." The lights went out. The next morning, the storm had passed. Students filled Westbrook High like always. Laughing, complaining, checking phones. When first period started, Mrs. Alden paused during roll call. "Marcus Hill," she called. No answer. She frowned and marked him absent. In the hallway, near locker 327, a faint red smudge stained the tile floor. Custodians tried scrubbing it away, but it wouldn't fade completely. At 3:15 p.m., the final bell rang. And for just a moment, it echoed a second time. A little too long, a little too loud, and from somewhere deep inside the walls of Westbrook High, chairs scraped, as if another class had just begun.